Do I see an earth cell? Is that right? I should probably close my door. Hang on. I do. I do see an earth cell. Well, I don't see her, but I know she's here. Hello. Oh my goodness, it's so good to see your face. Oh, you are muted.
Hey,
There we go. Hi, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I actually am just finishing up making the last changes to the
Uh,
workbook that I
I'm
think
gonna
you'll
make
enjoy.
myself a cup of tea. All right,
Oh,
I'll be right back.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Let's publish it. Let's share, download, and I'm gonna check if anybody else is here. No, just us two for now. Download. Right. I am so pumped for this one.
All right. Yeah, I'm excited about
Hi.
this one too.
I just uploading, share a post. Nice file. Oh, not that one. Oh, good Lord. Stop. No, I don't want that one. Go away. I want. There we go. All right. I hope that works. All right. Do. Let's make sure everything's there. Perfect. Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That is a
You?
very quick time for you to get a cup of tea. I'm very impressed.
Well, I just need to actually put the tea. The cup was there, like the water was ready and everything. I
I, per
just need.
usual, am working around the clock or until like the nth time moment of the world because that's what I do. You know, I can do all these things and this and look at me. I have like somebody. I was trying to figure this out. I was looking at a meme or was it a reel? I don't know what it was, and it was saying, "Oh, 80, how your brain works is either I have half an hour, I can do this and this and this and this and this in half an hour," and your other brain's like, no, no, you can't. No, no, you really can't. You think you can't. I mean, you think it's going to be one thing. Like it's going to, it's going to take you 10 minutes to get to the store. You have to
Right.
get up. You have to get into the car. You have to find parking. You have to walk in. Do you even have gas in your car?
Yeah.
No. Or,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the other way, which is I have half an hour. I can't do anything because if I do one thing, then I have to do this, and then I have to do this because it's all connected. So I'm going to sit here and do nothing because this
Yeah.
is my life. I end up doing the former because I'm like, it's fine. Oh, you go. But I squeezed it in. I managed to get it. I got two workbooks for you guys, which I'm thinking you're
Yeah.
gonna, yes. I'm like, yay,
Yes.
your sales are gonna appreciate that. And the admin for how to get around there in circle in a sec. Did you get the email from me? Because I sent an email out to you guys.
The one with the RSVP, the three modules?
That one.
Yeah.
But I also sent you one earlier. Make sure it actually went
Oh,
through. It should have gone through.
let me check.
Let me find code. Code.
Mm.
Mm-mm-mm.
Oh, the one about this week,
Yeah.
June 12th to June 19th? Oh, you
No,
didn't.
no, no. I had today's meeting. Make sure you're actually one of their recipients. You should have been one of their recipients. Rachel. Yeah.
Today's
Oh,
meeting? Yeah, yeah.
yeah. You got that one. Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
In there, there's a whole bunch of links, and I'm going to go through those to make sure people are understanding how this works. Um,
Okay.
with it. All right, before anybody else comes in, let's catch up. Oh my goodness, you have been so busy.
I know. But right, this is being recorded, right? Right
I have to put
now.
it on pause. Hang on. Okay, so all right. So before we do anything, before we do the maps or anything, I want to do some housekeeping because I know it's a new platform. I'm trying to figure out the best way to communicate with you guys because I know right now it's scattered and I want it to figure out the best ways to do this workflow. Ideally, I'd like to go everything through Circle. However, I also want to make sure that you guys are okay with this and if you're something that you're liking, because I don't want to make work for you guys if it's not gelling. At the same time, if it is gelling, let's teach you how to get on board.
Mhm.
So the first thing I want to know is, so you are getting notifications from Circle,
Yes.
right? Okay, that's good.
Yes. It's just that
Are
it's new, so I'm trying to figure things out. It just takes me a little while, but I'll
Yes.
figure it out.
Okay. I'm trying to figure it out too. So once I figure it out, like I'm trying to organize things and I realize that's part of the learning curve. Ideally, I'd like to be able to say, here's what you have to do. Like go here, go here, go here, go
Yeah.
here. Because it'll make it easier. Can you tell me what you figured out so far and then what you are like, I don't know how this works.
Well, like when you post on the like I don't know how to call them, like the general thing, and then you ask questions and then we just comment.
Hmm.
I don't know if we're supposed to answer the questions there so that we can have a discussion, or if those questions are meant for us to reflect, or that we are supposed to answer them privately, like how the workbook. So I don't know if like when you're posting those questions, it meant for us to have a discussion, or are those questions, for us to think about so that we're ready for our meeting on Friday. So I'm not clear about that.
Okay.
And
That's
sometimes I
good to
want to
know.
go back and check at the questions and I don't remember how I found them.
Okay. Yeah,
Because the
that's
notification thing, it's not there anymore. So I'm just not familiar with the platform.
hmm.
That would be the thing.
Okay, so you get a notification through the app or through your email?
I check the app.
Okay. And then
I do
you
get
go
it by
back and then
email
you
as
can't find it
well.
again?
I do get it on my email as well, but I want to learn to do it through the app. So I'm forcing myself to kind of figure it out from the app.
Okay. Okay. So when you get it and then you're saying you go back and you can't find it anymore. So it's just you would like to be able to access the content, but it's not clear where it is and
Yes.
what to do with the content once you do find it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Because there are lots of sections like on the sidebar, and I'm like I guess I should probably take notes
That's
on
fine.
how or
I'm trying to figure this out
where
too.
the section. Yes.
All
So
right.
I just need more practice.
Okay, that's cool. So you are gonna. So the other thing I wanted to know is I've been trying to use the chat function in there. Are you getting messages through Circle?
Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but I don't know why. Again, I'm not checking my email because the email I have for this, it's not
Yeah.
on my. So what I do to, be responsible with that is to go to the app. But sometimes I don't get things from, like the chat, or I don't know if I'm clicking on the wrong spot. I don't know.
Okay. No, as in like, cause WhatsApp, right now we're using WhatsApp and ideally I'd like to put everything in chat silo there. And the
Okay.
reason I'm trying to do all this is because I don't want to have I mean, the part reason I'm moving off of Facebook, besides the fact that I can't stand Mark Zuckerberg, and I don't like the privacy, and I don't find it's easier to, I find it's really hard to find anything. I want to make everything contained in circles so we know where to find things. So
Yep.
that's good to know that you were as confused as I am where I'm putting things.
Yeah.
And I'll try to get even more clear that is. I'm going to show you actually right now about what I've done. Actually, you know what we can do? Can you go into the email that I just sent because I want
Okay.
to make sure that you actually have access to all the links that I sent you because that was the first thing for me for backend.
So the one of today's meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, then the first one is a link for it's a circle. says group coaching and it says join the event. That's the one I clicked so that
Okay.
I could,
And that one, that should take you directly to the event.
yeah, which
Obviously,
I did. I'm here.
perfect. And the join now button obviously went because you're right here, which is excellent.
Yeah, and then there's as a member of Vice, like a Phoenix past event space. And it says where all the documents, completed homework, and everything will be there. So for example, it says welcome, being both good inside camp, widow's brain,
Yes.
calming that.
Okay.
Okay. So for
Good.
example, when I get here, I don't know how to get here unless I click on the link. I want to know how to get here without clicking on the link.
Okay. Can you
If
share
that's
your
possible.
screen?
Yeah,
Or
but
you can't.
I
Maybe
would like
share.
to do it on the phone. But okay,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
on screen.
Da, 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 da. Answer host. Okay, so you should be allowed to share now. I don't, you're on your phone, you said?
No, right now I'm on my computer.
Okay, so at the very bottom of your screen, there should be a green arrow that says share.
Yeah. Am I sharing?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So for example, if I go, whoops, so here I am.
Yep.
So I can see everything. I'm in all these.
Yeah. Okay. So that, and you don't know how to get there. At the very top, so there's two different communities, or there's a couple of them. Go up. So the first one on your left-hand side, there's a Rise Like a Phoenix community with the start here, say hello resources in the, yeah, there. That right now I'm kind of playing around with this. So it's not, I don't think it's clear where things are either, because I've been kind of putting things in places.
Okay.
There's still in content here, and there's still things you can go through.
Okay.
The next thing underneath that is the resources. I've been plugging things in there. Um, Stuff that you can pick up. If you go to the first
Yeah.
post,
So for example,
yep,
this one, this is what I'm talking about.
yeah,
Like here, for example, these questions and these, like, I don't know if we're supposed to, like, is it like a chat room or just like for us?
gotcha.
This is what I was talking about. This is the one. Because here, I think I replied or something to one of these. I don't remember. Was it me? I don't remember. Maybe I didn't and I thought about it. Because I remember talking about, oh, yes.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Oh, yeah, because that makes sense. That was the survey that was very confusing. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I need to be consistent about giving better call to better descriptions of what to do with this stuff, which makes sense. Okay. All right. So that's the resources. So you should hopefully in here, what I'm hoping this to be is the resources to actually be like the files, workbook or worksheet or whatever, like the actual
Okay.
physical things I want to
Okay.
put in resources.
Okay.
The
And we
news,
wouldn't answer them there. We'll just like access them and then download them and then we'll, do
yes.
whatever.
Yeah. The
Okay.
one you posted on your right, that should not have been structured the way it was. That should have been
Okay.
a survey link in
Okay.
retrospect, because that way you wouldn't have to like answer everything. It'd be right there. So that was my bad.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's the intention, that this is going to be all physical
Okay.
resources.
Okay.
Go to the newsletter, the next one. So I'm going to make the difference between the newsletter. So the newsletter is basically, this is the stuff that I had to announce to you guys. For me as the administrator, this is the stuff you have to know. So for instance, this one is
Okay.
the upcoming weekly topics. That should
Okay.
come out. I believe this comes out as a summary every week as well to your emails. I
Okay.
don't get them, so it's hard for me to tell, and I should figure out how to do that. In here, those links that are right there,
Yeah.
those will go directly to the event itself.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's there. The other thing that will come up is that, actually no, I'll get that later. So that's there. The next one under, so that's for me to you guys as overall. The next
Okay.
one is the daily weekly check-in. What this is intended for is for us to come in. I'll basically have like a post of, let's think about this, or this is what I thought of. So basically anything we would have like thrown into like the Facebook before, I want to kind of throw in here.
Okay. So like if we want to share an image or whatever, we would put it here.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anything
Okay.
that's off the cuff, that's not related to anything. Just guys, like this is stuff I want to share. Like stuff you would have put on the Facebook group, I want to put there.
Okay.
Like a wall per se. So that
Okay.
I should probably
Okay.
change that
Okay.
too.
Makes sense. Okay.
Group coaching underneath that. That is the event circle. So if you go here, these are all the next events that are coming up. I should probably change I should probably change the title from group coaching to like what to make more sense of what this is. If you
Yeah,
go,
because for example, this would be like the same thing as the newsletter. So both the newsletter and this would have the links to the meetings, correct?
that's what I'm trying to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the actual event itself. So
Okay.
this is where you join the event. So if you click on that link in the newsletter, or it will go directly
To
to
this.
here.
Okay.
Okay. Like into the actual event. At the very top left, there's a little drop down or the with the upcoming. Under the over, oh,
Oh,
yeah, right
here.
there, yeah. You go to
Okay.
past. So this is the path that we have right now, so you can see what's happening. Um, what I'm going to be doing, and this is where it gets kind of confusing. So what's happening here, because people wanted them to be self-contained, I've created this new community, which is basically this is what the passive vast event community is going to be. So if
Okay.
you go back down to, sorry, I'm going to go back all over the place. Go back to the left-hand bar. Yep, if you go down. This Rise Like a Phoenix past events, what I'm doing here is that the being both good cop, bad cop, inside Widow's Camp, these are all the events that we had. So what I'm going to be doing is posting up the replay here. And because we're
Okay.
going Zoom forward, because the
Okay.
quality of the audio is not very good for Circle, I'm hoping they get better. Because
Okay.
ideally, what I like to do is take sound clips for myself for this, like my own stuff, to ideally do a podcast later is the idea. So I have to have good
Okay.
audio. Anyway, so the replays will be there. This is the replays are actually linked out to YouTube. So that
Yeah.
YouTube channel that you have, they are going to be the same thing. This is just a container so you can find them. Under in each, these are called spaces. So in this space, you can see up here, you can start a post. As we go along, I'm going to be putting the resources
Mm.
to go with this. So if we go down to the one that's today, which is the calming that feeling, we have the workbook. We have
Oh,
this is where the next one after that is going to be the replay. And then this is another workbook. What the intent is that any kind of discussions we have is going to be contained within this. Any homework
okay.
that you have would like to be posted here. Any
Okay.
questions. For now, this is the best way I feel like we can actually keep everything contained. The other
Okay.
thing we can do, and this is just a throw out to make even things more complicated, is that we have the ability to put tags on things. For instance,
Mhm.
anything that's solo parenting related, which I know is pretty broad, I got to figure out how we're going to tag things. If you put tag something as solo parenting, it's supposed to bring up everything that's related to it. So
Mm.
that's thing. The other, so that's we can play. I'm playing with the idea around with tags, which is an idea. Within here, as we go through, what I'm also going to do, if there's anything, for instance, after we do today, the session, there's going to be other resources that I'm going to pass over to you. They're either going to be a video to a past event or it's to another resource. That if it's, and so I'll post it in the actual replay section, but it will link
Okay.
out to the other event. So that
Okay.
way, everything's kind of like contained this way. The other thing I was
Mm.
thinking about doing, because it makes more simple in my head too, and I'm not sure if it does for you, is to actually have like one post that's pinned at the very top saying, this is everything that's in here, like almost like a table of contents. So
Oh,
you
yeah, that would be
know
good.
where to
Yeah.
find things. Almost like very similar to how I had in Google Drive, which is
Yeah.
this is the section, this is what you need to know
Yeah,
for this
I
section.
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, does that make sense? Actually, no. That you're saying yes. From your perspective, what would help you understand how this works? I mean, you said something, but now I introduced this new idea. Or is it something you,
Well, I think it would be a good, like, if we could have a session where we could practice this.
okay,
Maybe like just 20 minutes so that everybody's able to like click. Like that's what I would do with my students because right now I'm telling you yes, but then I won't really like in 3 days. So like, oh, she told me and I did not practice it. I did
right.
not write it down because I like to write things down, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I would need that like so that everybody practices so that if, for example, I forget about something, maybe I don't know, somebody else will,
Yeah,
remember?
yeah.
It's like, so everybody clicked, everybody kind of practiced and we help each other out. I think um, that would be good.
That's a great idea. So what if we did like if I did like a little like video of like this is where you have to go to for like
Mhm.
a self-taught thing, and then we have like
Mhm.
maybe 2 weeks where we have like an open office hours kind of thing. We're just kind of
Yeah,
throw in and we can have like a sandbox kind of play thing.
yep.
Would that work?
I mean, I think that would be helpful.
I love that. Okay, yeah, because you're right. I mean, I mean, it'll help everybody understand from a user point perspective,
Yes,
which is the point.
yes, because I might remember something, but then somebody else might remember something else. And it just, it really takes practice. And I think none of us are familiar with
Yeah,
circle.
yeah,
So I think that if we have like, I don't know, maybe you can post something like work or something so that we can work on it that day, or like a picture or whatever, and then we write a comment, or hey,
okay.
let's see if you can find this or whatever. And that's kind of like a
I love
scavenger
it.
hunt kind of thing. I
The
know I'm a teacher,
gamify,
and I'm sorry, it's just
it's all about gamification, man.
yeah.
It is. I love it. Okay, thank you. I really appreciate this from again, because you're also like a from a instructional learning point of view as well as
Yes,
someone
yeah,
from
we
that
need to
point.
practice otherwise, and and if you want your audio to be better as well, you should get a microphone. Like a real, the microphone like for radio or why not? Like those professional microphones.
This is supposed to be a freaking
Okay, you got it. Okay, so then you
now
have to
change. Why is it?
there we go.
Wait, how come it wasn't? Oh, it wasn't working properly. All of a sudden, it's now realizing I'm using a microphone. I don't know why
Okay,
that
so
happened. Thank you so
make your
much.
friend.
Oh no, that was Zoom. That was weird.
Hold on, let me charge my
Is it a
computer. Hold
difference?
on.
Is there a different quality of sound now?
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. That's good. Because that's why I bought the damn thing for. And I got to fix my lighting, but we'll figure that. I'm actually looking
No,
at
but the microphone makes a difference. It
good.
really
I'm
does.
glad. I
Yeah.
mean, I can't tell, so thank you. That
Yeah.
didn't know I was doing that. I just touched it and all of a sudden. Okay, let's dive in. Now, Jen just gave me a text saying she's not sure she can make it. She'll be probably be late.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else is coming. It's now it's
Okay.
now 1:06. I think we are safe to
Yep.
say we can keep going because I know it's late for you. I have other things to do in my life. um,
Yeah.
but it makes it really simple. So why don't you take in a time? There's two resources I did post in Circle, so we'll go through them if you
Yeah.
have the
The
time.
workbook.
If you go download at least the workbook, which should be the first post that's you see.
Okay, so there are two. Which one do you want me? The
The
worry
one,
hill or the other one?
the one which is oh, where'd it go? Gotta find my own.
Calming the feeling of
Yes, calming that forbidden feeling. That's
oh
what I'm
for
looking for.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got it. So I
Perfect.
can
I'm gonna see if I can
download
open it
it.
too.
Okay, I did.
Okay. La,
Still okay,
and
I
it's
got it.
pretty. I
It is with you.
All right. Let's dive. I love I get caught up in making things pretty, forget content. I'm like, content. Oh. All right.
No?
I am gonna dive in. Where's my notes? Where's my notes? Too many things open. Okay. I am actually really, really happy for this one. The reason why is because this is something that comes up all the bloody time. And it really is a huge aspect of trying to get our heart to calm down, our brain to realize our reality is this one now,
Yeah.
not the old one, and to get them to reconnect. That feeling of foreboding, of I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing, that if I do
Mhm.
anything, it's everything's going to fall apart is very real. And so
Yeah.
what I would like to do today is to offer some emotional regulation tools. I want to get some grounded frameworks to specifically help us as solo widowed parents to shift from that survival based fear to trust in their capacity without denying the very real vulnerability that they live with daily because they've been shown otherwise, right?
Yeah.
To go back to how you were talking before, the fact you are very learning to kind of go, this is what I'm comfortable with, and then knowing that maybe the next step, I don't know what's going to be there. That
Mhm.
tells me that you're kind of getting out of that sense of foreboding, which honestly is incredible. So good for you. Fantastic where you
Thank
want to
you.
be. So I do want to acknowledge before we go any further, I do want to acknowledge that there is this invisible weight that we do
Mhm.
carry, which is we are the last line of defense.
Yeah.
They're not there anymore. It's just us, and your body knows it, right? It feels it. There can be this impending feeling. I don't. It's not even doing. It's just there's this creeping dread that we a lot of us kind of feel, and it's not a
Mhm.
flaw. It is a trauma logic. Again, sounds kind of weird. Your brain is going, and your heart especially is going. Oh my goodness, everything's gonna fall apart. I don't know how to deal with this. I have to make sure that I'm okay no matter what. So
Mhm.
it's not about, and it's also acknowledging that as solo parents, especially the further out we are from the very beginnings of our grief, this idea
Mhm.
of emotional safety, it can feel like a moving target. A lot of this is because we have to kind of rely on ourselves now. And as human beings going through our own grief journey and figuring things out on the fly, it is a moving target. And we don't have the buffers of our person to steady us. Right, it is just us, and it kind of it feels out of control sometimes, or not quite living not out of control, but it's a little unnerving. So, which again goes back into that. Oh my god, I'm not sure if I'm doing anything right. There's a lot of every single time I've talked to a solo parent or who's a widow, and it doesn't matter whether their kids are like toddlers to teens or older, or whether they're in their first year or their fifth year or whatever. They're always worried, not just for themselves, but most especially what they're doing the right thing for their kids. That am I double thinking myself? Am I breaking my kids? Is something I'm doing wrong? And it all comes back down to that self-trust because we don't have any other buffers, right? And that's scared, which is why the idea of, oh my God, I'm not sure if I'm like breaking them is our natural fear, that foreboding, holy crap. I know this. You probably know this too, but the idea when your kids are younger, you have the first 5 years idea, that the expectations that gives on you of this is the time I have to figure out what I'm doing, because this is like the most developmental time, but I don't know what I'm doing because I just started this and they can't tell me until after all this. It's so scary.
Yes, yes, yes.
I don't know.
And I know it, like I know it like from, my career, right? So I know how important it is, but you're kind of winging it because like you said, it's just us, right?
It is. It's crazy. Um, so I don't get that, and I want to acknowledge that because it is part of our lives now. And so exactly what we're trying to do though is to reconnect to those nervous system cues and to learn from those triggers about how to use that to translate that fear of something's going to eat me to I am safe, I am here, everything's okay, and so create that safety from the inside out because we don't have again those barriers from the inside. So as a question to you to talk about this, what was the last time that you caught yourself thinking, what if everything just breaks again? And then once you figured out with that, what triggered it? So if you want to look at your workbook, you can write it down. If it's just you and me right now, we can just blow it up. Did you want some time to think about it since it's just you and me? So the question again, what if everything just breaks again? When was the last time you thought that? And what was it that made you think that?
Um, it happens when children ask Maya, "Where's your dad? Where's your daddy?" And she continues to say that he's in an airplane and that he's coming.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I've shown her like books. We've talked about it. Like what does it mean to be dead? The body's not working anymore, and that's your dad. You can see in pictures and videos and whatnot. But she's like, no, no, he's in an airplane. He's gonna come. He's in an airplane right now. And so that triggers it because she says that when somebody asks her about her dad, and that happened, for example, like last, I don't know, like 3 days ago.
That's
So I feel like, oh my God, I will break again.
right.
Like, okay, that it's just the beginning. And now she's starting JK, so it's gonna happen a lot more. frequently. So that's what triggers it, basically, that
Gotcha.
question
And
and
now,
her
so it's not
response.
just it's in that moment of she said that, and it's in that moment it triggers you because you're like, but how, what, but everything I've been teaching you, why is it not sinking in?
Yes,
The
yes.
the airplane is interesting. I don't quite, I would like to understand that bit more. I'm not even sure if we understand that part, but I understand also you're thinking about how this could potentially, how it could maybe get bigger or smaller, or you don't know, but as she gets older and she goes back to kindergarten and she's having more people ask her and she's having like all these other thoughts and stuff, that is a scary thought of, I don't know how she's going to react, and if she's acting this way now, how can I
Like,
prepare?
I don't know if she doesn't understand it. She doesn't want to understand it. Is it the fact that when we fly, we get to see our family? So I don't know if in her head now she's thinking once I get into the airplane, because when we fly, after we land, we
Yeah.
see our family, right? So I don't know if that's what she's thinking. I cannot see him. He must be flying, and then he'll land and we'll see him. I don't know.
Kids do have this concept. Like I'm not religious at all. I mean, I used to be Catholic, but anyway, but all kids seem to think like up there, that's where they are. Like that's why my kids, I call my kid like the sky daddies. They share a sky daddy because he's up there. It's interesting that your daughter has actually made a physical representation of what that is. But it doesn't, so when you guys go in an airplane, does that come up?
Well, this just started. So it started like,
Interesting.
I don't know. She started giving this response like 3 months ago or so. I don't remember, but we haven't been in
Okay.
a plane ever since we started having that response. So now that we're flying next week, I'm a little worried. I'm a
Gotcha.
little concerned because she's actually going to fly. And I don't know if she's going to be disappointed that once we land, Daddy won't be there
Gotcha.
or that he won't be in the plane. I don't know. I don't know what she's thinking. I don't know. She's only 3, right? I don't know.
Yes. No, but that's, I mean, this, hang on to that thought as we're going through this, because as an exercise, let's see if we can actually use this
Okay.
to kind of dive deep. And look at this, you're actually getting like a mini session all on your own. Lucky you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's again, you flip that though, you can only really control how you are feeling and how you're reacting,
Yes.
right? Which you are very aware of. So let's keep going.
Yeah.
Let's use that. I love this. Okay,
Okay.
so your the module, the first module, and it's called your internal fire alarm system. So it's basically the scientific reasons of why, what's behind that constant anticipatory dread. Basically, it's your foreboding is your brain trying to protect you by preparing you for loss. But and as you know, it's exhausting to live in this constant threat mode. So the brain's I forget. Oh my god, I hate this. There's like these two little jelly beans in the back of your head, and I was looking up behind a fight. Forget what they are right now. Oh my god, little jelly beans behind your head. There's like the idea of this is your brain stem itself. This is like this is the hand model. This is like your, I forgot the names off my head. This is a terrible session. This is your panic response. This is the frontal lobe cortex. And when it flips up, it's basically your alarm system of triggered of, oh my God, something's happening. And it goes into your fight flight system. So those little things, your alarm systems in your head, they're literally saying, oh my God, this has happened again. We have to make sure that we are okay because we know the last time this happened, it was freaking horrible. Right. So it's like an intuition. It's often, I guess, historical panic, which kind of echoes into the present. That's a lot from and talk about how you have one foot in the past and one foot in the present, and they can overlap. That is a prime example of when that happens because in that moment, your brain, your reality ceases, and your heart is going, "Get the f out of Dodge," or whatever. This, oh my God, that's and it's just it's historical. It's like an echo effect almost. Your body, your mind wants to make sure you're okay. Your nervous system, it doesn't get to sleep with both eyes closed anymore. You're always going to have a feeling like there's one eye open just in case something happens. And it doesn't just have to do with grief, it all has to do with let's bring the mother aspect into it too. Like, I don't know if my kid's gonna fall out of bed if they're a baby, if they're sleeping with me. What if I roll over on them? Like, literally can't sleep. And that kind of translates, like, maybe not literally, into other aspects of their life as you're going forward. You're always constantly aware as a parent, as a solo parent, but then there's also the grief and the triggers that way too, which is literally your survival system. And it's not that something is always is wrong. Our trauma is wiring us to anticipate the worst case scenario. It's your brain is doing its job too well after living through something that it couldn't stop, that it has no control over. It's trying to make sure that everything's in place so it doesn't happen again. I'm going to close my window just for a sec. I don't know what, I got a big beeping out there. So we don't just fear the dark because it's dark. We fear it because we remember the last time we didn't see it coming. We know there's a monster back there, or there could be a monster back there. And that anticipation, that what if, that is the thing that will drive us freaking insane. And I find that the silence is so difficult because of that. It's that peace, that silence. It can be terrifying because in that silence, we've lost everything. There's nothing for us to do. There's no things, no activities for us to be distracted by. There's nothing that needs us right now. Everything is done. Sometimes if there's silence, we fill that silence with things. Like, instead of like laying, like, my big thing is the dishes. Instead of just letting the dishes there, and let's say I can't do with it, I have to do them. Because if I'm by myself sometimes, I can't, because I don't know what to do with that. I can't sit with myself. The it's That's also, I mean, I'm especially when the kids were little, and I don't know if you are feeling this right now, but I find that that night was the worst. When they go to bed and it's just me and it's dark and I'm alone, I just feel so alone. I felt so alone at that time, and it was just so difficult not to have all these feelings coming rushing in because I stopped. And that, because of that, that triggered for the very longest time of that I had to keep going. I had to survive. I have to make sense because I wasn't comfortable in that feeling of not knowing. So I want to think about, when was the last time that your body panicked before your mind had a reason? And yeah, let's just start with that. Was the last time your body panicked before your mind had a reason? Like, before even like it came logically sense that you're reacting that way. You just did something without even paying attention, and then you're like, "Oh, okay. Well, why did I do that? I did that because of this." Just almost a react to it. Did that 3 times.
I don't remember. Like, no. Like, when I
Awesome.
panicked, it's because I was locked out of my house and my daughter was inside. I told you this, right? I shared this with you guys. Did
Tell us
I?
again. Tell us again. I want to hear it.
Well, because I left the keys inside. I was going outside to, handle for the laundry, and I closed the door and the keys were inside. So I broke the window twice because it wasn't a Friday and nobody works on Fridays because it's the holiday. And then a couple of days had to go to I live very close to the school.
Yeah.
So I went to get the guards so they could call someone to help me out. So I've done this 5 times in total. Yeah.
You've locked yourself out 5 times?
Yep. In 2 years.
Interesting.
Yep. And when I was out, I was like, I always thought, like, oh, fuck you, Roberto, because he was always the one that reminded me about the keys.
Right.
Always been
Right.
a problem with me. So now obviously I double check in pockets, and it's like a whole routine I have to that I have to go through before I check on laundry. But yeah, I was angry at him those 5 times. But I mean, there was a reason I was locked out. Other than that, without reason, no. No.
That is actually very interesting that you brought that up. Again, as someone to remind you, because you do the thing. You said the same thing about the passports.
Yep. So I think I have like a attention deficit or something. I really do. That I wasn't diagnosed because I do have, I'm very dispersed. And those are the things, like, if I don't put in the same place always, and
Yeah.
sometimes I don't because my daughter talks or whatever and I get distracted
Yeah.
easily, then that should say it. So passports, and right now, like I'm gonna print the itinerary and I have to review it 10 times just to make sure it's the right flight, the right date. So it takes me a long time and that stresses me out because I don't have the help anymore. And I got used
Yes.
to that. And
Yes.
I did it before. Yes, I did it before, but it took me forever. It was exhausting and I just relaxed once my husband did it for me. So now I'm angry because I have to do it again. And it's exhausting and my daughter distracts me. So yeah.
That's you actually you hit the nail on your head. You just asked the question. So you just said what it feels like. You didn't really panic per se because you did the thing you had to do. This was I have to do this. But you've just told me what it felt like. So you felt like anger. You feeling like if you must feel some kind of frustration with yourself too. About why
Yes.
am I doing this again?
Yes.
Again.
Yes. Yes,
Um,
like when I needed, I'm gonna go tomorrow to get my police record thing. And I
right.
couldn't do it before 3 months ago because my visa, my residence card had expired and I didn't pay attention to the date. Because again, a date. So those were the things that my husband was in charge of. So obviously I got pissed because I went to the place, I wasted an hour there just to realize I cannot do it because my thing had expired. So yeah, those things frustrate me because I know it's on me. I know I should be more careful, but I have a lot of things I have to deal with. So it's like,
hmm
yes, yes,
So
it's
when
very
you know you
frustrating.
have to do those things, how do you anticipate that situation?
Yeah, so that's why I want to have like things packed. Like I want to have my luggage ready
Yeah.
Monday the latest with the passports in the right place with the itinerary printed out, like everything that I need, the keys inside like the whole thing, but it's just a lot. But yes, I'm gonna do it. Obviously, I'm gonna do it. I have to do it. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have to
yeah,
do the things.
yes. But I still get angry. Yes.
Of course. That's I love it. You've actually just yeah, you've answered everything. Jen, hi. I wanted to say they're here. I recognize you're here. I'm glad you make it. Are you going to be keeping the mute off while you're in the car? Sorry, mute on while you're in the car? Okay. All right. So we'll keep going then. If you feel like you want to like jump in and say something, let me know. But otherwise, we're just gonna. Ursel and I are having a lovely little tete-a-tete right now, which is great. We have a chance to catch up. All right, so that was the first idea. So Jen, if you don't know already, we're talking about that foreboding feeling, or even necessarily it really the the title is really over the top of foreboding, and they can't trust yourself, and everything's gonna fall apart. But I was trying to capture that feeling. In reality, it can't doesn't really have to be that bad. It's just that was the kind of intensity of where it could go. We just finished talking about your internal fire alarm system, about why you're basically on constant alert all of the time, even for the littlest things, especially when it comes down to your children, and how you can handle the stuff when shit happens. Like, I'm trying to think of when that happened recently. Um, oh my god, not off the top of my head. I'm sure. Oh my god, it's terrifying. When did I panic last? I can't. I just no. I remember I blew my top on my kid recently, but that's something completely that was more about like shut up and like deal with reality. Anyway, okay, that was module one. Module two is the idea of regaining trust after our world is destroyed, right? And oh my goodness, after a loss, we don't just lose our person, right? We lose everything. Most importantly, besides ourselves, which is important, we lose that sense that the world is stable. We lose that sense of ease. And when it does feel calm, when there's nothing over us, it can sometimes feel like a trap. The idea of what is going to happen next. This sometimes happens also because tragedy seems to follow tragedy. As much as we like say we can manifest good things, which does happen sometimes when something good happens, everything there's all these other good things happen when you go through a trauma response, especially grief. Sometimes trigger other really bad things which shouldn't happen, except why are they happening all now? Like, I cannot tell you the amount of times I've met other widows that said my husband died and then I found out this, or the furnace broke, or this broke, or my house was flooded, or and then this happened. It just all seems to happen all the time, which kind of cements in her head that this world can't be trusted, which means sometimes we overfunction because when it is calm, when there is nothing there that's happening, it can be like, okay, what is going to happen next? What's going to happen next? We can sometimes lose all sense of time and all sense of space without our person to ground us, to direct us, or to calm us. We're learning to trust ourselves. And that's difficult, especially when we go through that panic and we have those moments where we're triggered and we don't know which world to trust because we're getting echoes of the past as well as where we are right now. And that's a lot to deal with on a day-to-day basis, let alone in these points where it comes to a climax. Calm feels suspicious because you've just lived through a storm and didn't without any warning. Like there is nothing for a lot of us. I mean, even if you did have warning, nothing prepares you for when it actually happens. Regardless of whether it's anticipated death or a sudden death, no one is when it happens. No one can expect. No one expects how it's going to hit them until you've gone through it. Which means hypervigilant. It becomes a personality trait because of that trauma response. So we have to learn how earned safety works, which is the idea of you're building safety within, even when guarantees aren't possible. And the metaphor I was going to use is that now that your life and your safe space has been completely destroyed by the hurricane or the fire or whatever kind of metaphor you want to give it, you are living in that house and everything's all of a sudden gone. And you are still living in it and you're trying to learn how to rebuild that house again. Which timbers are still there that you can use, which are completely burned away, which you have to replace. How am I even going to do this? And at the same time, making sure that your people are safe because you're the only one creating that safety bubble. There is strength in noticing that noticing that fear that, oh my God, I'm not sure what's going to happen next. I'm not sure whether I'm picking the right thing. I'm not sure if I'm making the right decision. Those what ifs, the reason why it's there is to tell us there could be a problem, but not following it all the way down the rabbit hole. And that's where we get stuck because we can't figure out a way to get out of that. It's almost like we're in this trauma response and become so used to it that if it's not there, we kind of make it happen because it's safe. It's safer because you actually know it's there. But serial safety is about flexibility, not control. We can't control everything. And then when we're trying to, it is so exhausting because there's plan B, C, whatever. It's tough. And to be flexible to know that I can't do anything about it except for this moment is trusting yourself. You can be calm without being naive. And you can trust the ground and at the same time, you can still check it for cracks. It doesn't have to be this all or nothing idea. The idea of earned safety, which is a safety that doesn't come from guarantees, but it comes from self-awareness and from studying practices. So there's something I want to show you. And it takes this idea of living in that feeling of, I'm not sure if I'm okay with this, and knowing that it's going to be okay by testing out those things. If you can test the ground and make sure how to test the ground and make sure it's safe, but at the same time, knowing where the cracks are. It's something called, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show that until later because I'm kind of going off the top. I'm not going to stop. I will share that, but I think it doesn't relate to right now. All right, blah, blah, blah. So that being said, the idea that I want to bring up is that even having that reflection on self-trust, which is even though I still brace myself when things are quiet, I can also remind myself that this isn't them then. Even though there is something I'm feeling, there could be something that's going to destroy everything because I'm happy in the moment or because this calm is too much. I have to remind myself that even though there's that echo of the past, I am here right now. And this is safety because the more you do it, you have to have guarantees by testing the water before you do it. An example of this, as my son, is that he gets into these states where he has to do homework and it has to be perfect. This is where I want to go. But he feels so uncomfortable about trying to get there because he's so afraid that he will not be perfect. He can't even start. So he can't trust himself to know whether he's writing the right topic. I will ask him. This is my big thing. Is I ask him like, well, "What do you want to write about?" He's like, "I don't know, something that reflects me." Well, what does that mean? I don't know. I'm like, well, let's try one thing, and if that doesn't work, then we can try something different. The pushback I got on that, I swear it was 3 weeks. Like when he first started doing this, the idea that he can trust himself and actually be uncomfortable with not knowing, be uncomfortable with not having everything out, knowing that what he's terrified of is that he's going to be a laughing stock. The people are going to think he's disingenuous, and he's already anticipating the worst before it even happens, which makes him stuck. We can do this in a lot of different senses when it comes down to how we trust ourselves in any day, if we feel that we don't know if we're doing the right thing or not. So the idea of that though too is that the earned safety is that we try to make sure everything's okay in our life, that we are okay in reality, even when the worst things happen. One of the things that I am doing right now is I'm kind of going all over the place and I apologize for this, but the thing that I'm thinking about right now is it's so bloody hot right now in Toronto. We were like up to like 38 degrees Celsius with the humidity, which is stupid hot. And we have a situation that happened last year is happening. I know it's going to happen this year. We have brownouts because everybody's using their electricity. There's somebody like 100 meters or 100 miles away or kilometers away from us. They had power and haven't had power for 2 days. So I'm trying to stop myself from thinking zombie apocalypse. I'm more thinking, how can I feel safe in this moment? I got to make sure I have like a radio so I can, because my internet's going to go down. I have to make sure I have water bottles to make sure, because I have no running water, I have to have water. So it's that same idea of I can be aware of tragedy, but I don't have to be afraid of it anymore. I can be afraid. I don't have to go off whole hog like my husband did on Zombie Apocalypse with all the shit that he had. I'm a bit more realistic now, but that's because I know what the worst thing is, and I can be aware of that and use that. I've done this to go forward. So that being said, when we're looking back, and what the question you had in your head at the very beginning, Ursel, of what if you're not sure what's happening, what in this life right now have you is holding steady? And then what routines have you been doing so you feel more resourced than when you were like 6 months ago or a year ago or whatever? If you could put what you're doing now compared to what you're doing then to make yourself feel like you're in control at the same time knowing that whenever does that make any sense? The things you're making sure of your stability right now. I'm glad that made sense because I didn't make any sense to myself.
No, I get it. Um, I think that just having a routine like a child, I guess, like again, like the
Yeah,
teaching and like the teacher, right? So the teaching in me tells me that if I'm teaching routine, or when I teach routine to the children, they know what to expect. They tend to behave better, and the learning increases and why not, participation, all that, because they know what to expect. They know
right.
what to expect from me, the classroom rules or routine, whatever. I do the same thing for my child, so she knows she has her bedtime routine. I don't struggle with that whatsoever. Like she knows what's happening, and that's that. And I apply the same thing in my life now. So I have that routine. So she goes to bed, and then that's me time, cook dinner or wash the dishes or whatever,
Yeah,
watch a little Netflix, and that calms me down. I might eat my chips or why not. And now when we do this, like I have this every Friday, and it's something that's like me time.
yeah,
When I went to a therapy, it was every Saturday. I had my therapy on Saturdays. So that has been enough. Like just having that routine. I know that during the summer things are going to change, and that kind of freaks me out. because we'll see people and I'll be out of my comfort zone. I'm gonna see Roberta's families. I'm gonna go to my house and unpack and see Roberta's items again, like his clothes, like things I have still at home.
Right.
Um, and I'm gonna see them again. So I know it's going to be difficult because I won't have the routine. Like to me, what makes my life easier is a routine. I know what to expect because of what we live was very unexpected. So now I
Right.
really I just feel safer with the routine, just like my children, my students
That makes
and
sense.
and my students and my
That makes
daughter.
sense.
I just know what to expect, and that calms me down.
So when something happens to kind of rejig that in the moment, how does that change your mindset about that structure?
Um, it 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 puts me like I get grumpy. One, I get kind of angry. I get a little anxious.
Yeah.
So what I do, what I know calms me down, like I would watch funny videos, or
Right.
I would watch like a TV show that makes me laugh, but one that I've seen before. Like it would have to be like either Seinfeld or Big Bang Theory to know
Interesting.
them by heart, and that gives me comfort. Yes.
That is really interesting. So you're using that concept of trained I mean, you're training your brain again to go, no, we are here, we have done this, it's okay, we know what's going to happen. You know what, you're right. I mean, I didn't really used to do this, like I still don't do it myself. I don't like watching the same thing over, but my husband and I, he would like to watch the same damn video again and again and again because it's routine. But the more we watched it, the more we're able to do other things around it because we knew this was going on. And like that idea of you're doing something because you're using that echo to tell your brain and your heart and everything, like, it's okay. We know it's going to happen. We've proven this to each other, and this is my physical aspect of it. That is really cool. Jen, do you have anything that you want to share? Are you home now? No, you're gone. All right. Um, oh, are you home? I can't tell. I'm going to keep going then. So on the flip side of that, going back to that stillness idea or that calm of when you don't have anything, how has that changed and how do you deal with that?
Well, I'll tell you in a couple of weeks when my routine changes. I'll let you know.
Gotcha.
I haven't had it in a year, right? I didn't go back home at all during Christmas, so I haven't had it in a
Nice.
year. So I'm sure I'm gonna have a few meltdowns. Oh yeah, I'm confident.
So that's what you're so at you're anticipating in the calm that you're gonna do you have anything set up for yourself to make sure if you go through that, you
Yes,
have backup?
I talked to a couple of my very close friends and I told them I'm gonna start unpacking shit. So could you please be with me
Yeah.
so that if I need a shoulder to cry on, you're there? And they said yes. So
Good.
I'm getting ready. Yes. I'm getting
Yeah.
ready. Yep.
But you're not panicking about it at the same time. You're like, no, 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 I'm doing the things that I have to do because
Yeah.
I
Yes.
love that.
Yeah. I'm panicking about other things, but that I cannot control. This I can control. And
Yeah.
I know what works for me, and I'm trying to make my life easier.
Yeah, that makes sense. Could you have seen yourself doing this like 2 years ago?
No, no,
No.
no, no. Like, no. No, I see a big change in me.
Yeah.
Um, that I'm slowly um going back to my original self. And I was definitely I was lost for 2 years. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Um, oh my goodness. You actually I've kind of gone up further than I wanted to. Jen, are you actually here? I can't, oh my God. She came in and came off, came in and gone,
I'm here.
hi.
Yeah. There, I have to say okay to being recorded to be in here. So, can you hear me?
Oh, hi. Yes, we can. We can see you too.
So, with my phone, I couldn't unmute it. I don't know what was going on, but I was driving. Bella's going away with friends for a week for camping, and
Yeah.
she bought something, so I had to drive across town to bring it to her, and she wanted Starbucks. So, I was doing that and then driving home, and now I'm on the bad laptop that has the bad picture, but whatever.
Whatever. You're here. Yay, you made
Yeah.
it.
I look awful, but whatever.
Whatever. I haven't, whatever. I love this group, so we can do this. Did you catch any of what we were talking about?
From when I joined from the car, yes.
Okay.
So I don't know what the first thing was, but I, it's funny because I've been in like tech hell all week, like reinstalling software and it's not working, and my actual landline went down, and dealing with AT&T and going back and forth with all these things. And um, so the AT&T guy came and he's like, I've been doing this for 28 years. I've never seen a line do this. And then he came back the second day and worked for 2 hours on it. And he's like, 28 years, you're my second presidential escalation. I'm escalating it because it doesn't make sense why it's not working. And I said, everything around me, this happens. Like if there's a way it can break that no one's seen before, it happens to me. And he's like, please don't kill me. I'm like, dude, I'm like, you're doing the best you can. I'm not gonna get upset with you. Like, it's fine. So it's funny because he did that. And then I tried to install the secure email that I've been putting off for what, 3 years now. And I call them and I'm like, it's not installing. And he's like, all right, let's do, I swear he was autistic. He goes, let's do Teams. Do this. Do this. All right, let's share the screen. And then I tried to join Teams like last week. My microphone just stopped working. So I clicked some setting that I don't know how to unclick. So he said, well, he came up with a great solution for every next step. He's like, let's try a different browser. And then it worked. He's like, well, I'll call you on your phone. Like, so we were communicating. He could see me through the computer, and then he's calling me on the phone, and we're trying to do all these things.
Yeah.
And he goes, all right, I hate Macintoshes, but ooh, that's something different. You're lucky, unlucky.
Oh my God.
So all of a sudden, I wasn't just some idiot who didn't know what she was doing. It was, oh, you have a problem I've never seen before. I can't fix it, but you're not an idiot. Okay. Like it was one of those. And I think ultimately what I'm trying to say is it's really just about perspective, right? Like I
Yeah.
can't just, I could be, oh, woe is me. And I mean, I've been paralyzed in the task because I knew it wouldn't work, which
Right.
is why I didn't do it for all these years. But once my facts went down, I had to do it.
Yes.
So it's still not fixed, but I have a workaround. I found a different fax service, and basically AT&T has had, they know their universal messaging isn't
Yeah.
receiving faxes for 2 weeks. It's been happening for 2 weeks. Do they send an email to everyone who's paying for their service? No. Do they let anyone know? No. Do we know how many faxes we missed? No. But I know of 2 or 3, and I
Okay.
found workarounds for them. But I mean, it's stressful. It's been hours on the phone with customer service and waiting and waiting and waiting. At the same time, I'm waiting for IKEA delivery, and the dresser we made didn't work, and waiting to replace that. So I spent a lot of time just waiting, and I'm home and I'm not using that time productively like I totally could, but
Hmm.
I know I'm going to be called away at any second, so I don't. But I'm not like it's stress, but I'm not upset about it. Like it doesn't have me like, yeah, I mean the first day that I kept having to listen to Mark's voicemail and kept having to
Mm.
say, just leave a message, I'll call you right back. And I'm like, but you won't. I'm like, you're not gonna call me back. I
Dark
want
humor.
you. So I have, tears running down my face, and the tech rings on the doorbell, and I'm like, hey, yeah, no, I'm fine. We're good. Like, let's fix it. And so basically what I'm saying is I try to have the perspective of you got this, you can do it. It's
Hmm.
not going to be easy.
Hmm.
Roll up our sleeves and make it happen. And there's no sense getting upset or angry about it. We're going to fix it. And if we don't, everyone else will have to deal, but we're going to try. So I think the perspective of let's just get to work is what's helping keep me sane.
I think a lot of that absolutely is definitely survival too. Of we have to do the thing to make sure we're okay, and nothing else really matters except maybe my kids. We tend to like thing worse happens, how do we make sure you're okay? Here's my house. Here's food. Are the kids breathing? They're breathing. Okay, let's go. Right? It just this is the way we seem to do that. So, question for you then. Let's go back to the questions I was asking before. Do you have a situation where you have your body's panicked? And you're kind of like, oh my God, because whatever it is that whatever trigger that is that came up, like let's take the oh yeah, it's just take what you're talking about with your with the voicemail. Using that as an example of that's when your instinct almost took control before your brain realized what it was that had triggered you. Was that an accurate
Well, I
description of that?
think, yeah, I mean, yeah, it definitely, I just started crying,
Yeah,
so, and releasing that emotion rather than bottling it up or whatever. And it's just like, wow, I really miss him. Wow, I'm really angry he's not here to fix this. Wow, this is
yeah,
really frustrating. Wow, this would be so much easier if he were here because I could run out and get the kids and he could wait for IKEA. He could talk to the tech and tell them the words that are failing me. Like he could do all this. Um, and then I'm just like, but he can't because he's not here. But you know what? I can. I might not use the right words, but I can get my point across. I
right.
can circumvent it and say things to the point where the person either just understands me or actually provides me with the words I'm looking for. And we'll get there. And we did. I mean, I've spoken to, I don't know, 8 to 10 people at different customer service places on the phone with AT&T. I've spoken to 4 people at the AT&T store, and this it's I was lucky because I got the same tech. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think now it's just sort of becoming like when Mark was here, I would get upset or he would get upset and
Hmm.
I'd calm him down or he would calm me down. And, I'm getting used to not having that another adult to just say it's going to be okay.
Yes.
I have to do that
Yeah.
for myself.
Yes.
Whether I have to talk to myself in the third person or just mentally say it. But I think the biggest thing that I miss is the other person to lie to your face and go, it's going to be okay. Because
Yeah.
our brains need to hear that, even though we have no idea if it's going to be okay.
You know what I've heard recently actually is you're right. Apparently, our brains actually do have to hear that. Like physically, scientifically, you have to. And what's one of the things they're saying is that, if you think about a mantra to get you out of it, apparently, if you say that mantra out loud, it works so much better because your brain's actually like your brain gets it from a different your auditory and it clicks so much better than just thinking it. It almost like creates a reality because it's I should probably look into the science of what that is, but it's one of the things they're saying now to do is just say that out loud. Just don't think I can do this or I'm amazing or it's just me and I've got this. Put out loud and that really does click in. I think that's fascinating. So
And
good for
talking
you.
talking to yourself in the third person.
Oh yeah.
Demonstrate it is going to be okay. Say it in the mirror. Say it to yourself. Give yourself eye contact in the mirror. It is going to be okay. And Mark he used to talk about it all the time. He's like, go stare at yourself in the mirror for 10 minutes and see if you can look at yourself. Like usually when he was mad at me about something. And I'm just like, I don't see a problem.
Go to your room, Jen.
Right. But there is something about that. And I think that's those of us who were in loving, successful couple relationships, we
Yep.
got it from the other person and we didn't need to give it to ourselves. I'm
Yes.
surrounded by a lot of people who never had that relationship, so they don't know what I'm missing.
Yes.
But I think, yeah, we have to be it for ourselves. We have to be that parent that wasn't the parent we needed. We have to be that partner that wasn't the partner. And talking to ourselves in the third person in the mirror really helps. But I also think that's why the thanking my future self when I do the dishes works.
I
Because,
think that's another reason why I love it. The idea of talking to your husband, especially at the very
yeah,
beginning, just so you
yeah.
can like, he's not here, but I still have to bounce things off of. I can still be angry, I can still cry you, I can still be happy with you, but you're still here. It's almost like there. Or if there's other things that we're talking about when you go into that, like, I am the worst person, I'm making the mess choice. Like, all the what ifs, horrible, horrible person, the idea of naming that and saying, okay, talk to yourself as if you're like the reasonable one. How would you talk to yourself like you're the child and you're trying to calm yourself down? No, honey, I understand that you're really upset that the poem you want isn't perfect, but what you're doing is fine and we can figure things out. Like whatever it is, right? There is psychology, human brains are so weird.
Yeah. Well, that's why I even tell the kids, I'm like, stop the negative self-talk. Stop
Yeah.
saying you hate yourself. Stop saying you're stupid. Stop saying Bella loves, I'm going to kill myself. And I'm like, will you not use that word? Like,
Yeah.
it's not okay.
No.
Well, I'm joking. I go, but your brain
Don't,
doesn't.
yeah, don't.
Your brain doesn't know that you're joking. Or
Yeah,
when
and the social services agency also doesn't know that they're joking too, right?
Right. Yeah, my mom said that to the people at the home. She's like, well, if you don't let me go, I'm going to jump out the window. And I'm like, well, now you just put yourself on suicide watch, mom.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
don't want to be locked down like a prison, but you just did it to yourself. So,
I want to go back to one of the other things we are talking about, which is kind of switching gears a little bit.
mhm.
But you obviously are a little bit further along than Ursel is, and but do you feel fine? Do you still have you ever found, and if you have, do you still find those moments of calm and quiet difficult to deal with?
Like when it's too calm or too quiet, like I don't
Well,
trust.
either because the kids are in bed or everything's fine and there's no disaster to take care of, or like I have nothing to do for half an hour.
Oh, the little short ones, I'm fine. Like it's totally cool. The other night, Max was at a sleepover and Bella was still away at camp. And I came home. I'm like, I'm coming home to an empty house. This is a little weird. But I was tired enough that half an hour later I was asleep and it didn't bother me. But I do remember the first couple times I came home to an empty house and it felt eerie. I heard every sound and it all sounded different. And it was like, where's Mark? Why isn't he here? And now it's
Mm.
routine. It was like, oh wow, I get to go home and no one needs me for anything. I can go put my laundry in the wash machine and walk to the shower naked. Like, I can't do that when I have the kids here. They'd freak out. But yeah, I mean, now I think I'm finding the joy in those moments
Yes.
and not a weirdness in it. So yes, it does happen. It does happen where I mean, I'm always going to miss Mark, but I mean,
Yeah.
even when I told the AT&T tech, I'm like, oh yeah, he's telling me his dad had a stroke. I go, oh, my husband did too. He goes, how's he doing? I go, oh, well, he's dead. He goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh no, it's been 5 years. It's fine. We're good. We're coping. Um, but yeah, it's weird. So, but yeah, I am definitely feeling more calm even in the chaos. Like this
Right.
week has been total chaos and I've been stressed and there have been time I'm cursing him. Like, why aren't you the one sitting at home so I can go do this? Just frustrations. But I'm still managing it. Like
Mm-hmm.
Bella's getting new furniture.
Mm-hmm.
She got her nails done. She got her stuff at the mall. She's off on her camping trip. Max left his bike at his friend's because it was too hot and there's too much road construction and he'll go get it on Sunday. Like we're we're working through it. Like I'm like, I can pick you up, but I don't really want to put all the seats down in the car. Can you leave your bike there? And he's like, hold on. Yeah, the mom said it's okay. I can leave it till Sunday. I'm like, okay, cool. We're cool.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, well, let's ask. We don't get if we don't ask, and we won't know if we don't ask. And if I have to put all the seats down and move the stuff out of the car, I'll do it. But I prefer not to do it today. But we'll manage.
Yeah.
Um,
But I like that because I mean that goes into my one of the key ideas I want to talk about, which is you things happen and you can't erase what's happened. You can't erase the tragedy, but you're learning to trust yourself. And that comes from practice of doing it, of showing
yeah,
that you really are okay and this is how you're doing it. It's calming, doing that calming of, oh my God, I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing. What if you're creating evidence that you can handle life even when it's uncertain, like you're figuring this out. Which actually, this is where I want to show what I was talking about. So if you go to, I'll actually go back to explain how circle works in a sec, Jen, after we finish this, could be at the very beginning. But if you're in the event right now, um, let me send you a link here just so you know exactly where I'm talking about. I've created a new section in Circle itself for all of the all of the topics. So each topic has its own section, and it will have like the replay and the workbooks, and any probably like any transcripts or everything will be in there. There's 2 workbooks in there right now. The first one, we're kind of working through a little bit. There are questions in there. But I'm picking out some of them here. You can do some of them on your own. But the one I want to look at right now, it's called the Worry Hill. And this is a really interesting concept that I learned recently. Let's see if I can actually share it. Give me a sec. I want to present this.
Val wants the link, but I don't know how to send the link on WhatsApp.
Okay,
I'm
hang
on the
on. I got it.
computer. So, yeah.
I will get it. Thank you. Copy link address. So this should, oh, hang on. It keeps logging me out. Come on, I'll do it. Oh, I don't know, I'm doing it wrong. Hang on. I will put, you know what? I'm gonna put it in the, if you're already there on WhatsApp, I'm gonna put it in the chat in Zoom so you can pass it over to her that way. Because otherwise I have to, no, that's not the right one. Don't look at that one. That was sucks. Go there, go here. This one, that one. You want to give her that one. And then she should be able to join the virtual event. That works. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going because it's already 2 o'clock, which is fine. We started much late. So what I'm going to be showing you is called the Worry Hill. Let me see if I can share my screen. Can I do this in another green seconds? Give me 2 seconds. I want to share, present. Where is it? No, it's not right. Present. How do I do it? Presenter view.
I was finding when we were using Circle for the Zoom that it was like really echoey.
Yes.
And
Yes.
there was lots of sound.
I
lack
agree.
of
This is
quality.
what I want to go back to the to using Zoom. So it will link directly to Zoom specifically for that because it's just horrible. It's really, really bad quality. Okay, so I'm going to create a session. Can I work this? Okay, copy invitation. Oh, that's not going to work. Forget it. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to open it up. If you can open it up, I'm going to open it up with myself on this side. I thought I could do it a different way. I apologize. Download. So this is something I found recently. I just finished a 2 month session with my son, and it's something that I thought was a really cool idea. Oh, I don't want that. Fuck off. I'm sorry. I should not be swearing. I don't want a PNG. I want a freaking PDF download. I thought I was actually could be able to present my notes without you seeing it, but you can't. So I'm going to do it this way. Open up. All right. Where's my screen? And I'm going to share. Shit, I swear to God, the tech is sucky. Okay, you should be able to see that now, right? Cool. All right, so this is it was called the Worry Hill. Make sure you can actually not see that. Can you see my Canva with my notes? You can. God damn it. Okay, forget it. I'm gonna do this. Doesn't matter. Okay, I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna look at my own phone. This is what happened when I was trying to present that's what happened when I was trying to present my Canva when I was at the meeting and I couldn't find my notes. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You kidding me? Can I share my notes from here? Go on my notes. Son of a bitch. But shit. Can I just show this one picture? God damn it. This is like gonna take over the whole, so now you can see this again. Fuck. Whatever. Okay, I'm gonna have you open it then, and because this is just stupid. I'm gonna stop sharing. So the first one is the idea of a. No, this is not gonna work, guys. How am I gonna work this? Give me 2 seconds. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm going to do this back to my old. While I'm doing this, you know what, Jen? Let's go to your maps really quick because I'm copying and pasting what this is. How are you this week, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually?
Well, mentally, I'm kind of all over the place. As I said, the tech issues and everything have me sort of questioning my ability to do anything,
Yeah.
but I'm getting through it. Um, Emotionally, I'm feeling pretty depressed because my mom is telling me she's depressed every day, and
Okay.
it's really hard to see it. Max is pretty bored and solemn and hiding in his room, and Bella is gone, and she's our kind of our little ray of sunshine, and she was gone for a week, home for a week, gone for a week. So, it's weird. Like she's also the uh dictator type A personality, so it's kind of peaceful when she's not here, but it's also not happy when she's not here. Like it's like I can feel Max and I are really chill while she's
Right.
away, but at the same time, like no one's picking us up. So that's sort of where I am emotionally. I feel really bad for putting my mom in the assisted living because she doesn't want to be there.
Right.
And she keeps asking why we would do this to her, and she
Right.
refuses to understand that we're doing this for her. And it's really, really difficult. And I'm like, if you really think you're fine, just give it another 5 weeks at this point and let everyone go make your house livable. And then if you think you can go back and live there, the kids and I will get on a plane with you and take you there.
Oh my God, really? That's amazing.
But it'll kill me once she's back there because she'll have
Yeah.
little tiny things that I can't help her with because she's over there. And honestly, if she could be in assisted living and manage her medication herself, meaning mismanage her medication herself,
Right.
she would be fine. But I don't know. I know I'm dating myself with the All in the Family show with Archie Bunker. But Archie
Okay.
Bunker was the character who just never had anything good to say. He was always complaining about everything.
Okay.
And that is my mom. She seems to thrive on chaos. Well, I don't belong here. Everyone is so old. I'm so young. They're online. I can't even go to dinner because all I'm doing is saying Hail Marys because they're slumped over in their wheelchairs and their
My
walkers and
God.
everything. And I'm like, okay, you've lost a foot in height since the last time I saw you. And one of Bella's friends calls her Hunchback Grammy. And you walk really slow, you come out of your room and you walk left when you need to go right, you get
Right.
lost in the building, like, and all you're doing is not making friends by telling everyone here you don't belong here. And she left me a message the other day saying, I'm 30 years younger than everybody. I'm like, there are no 110 people there. Like, you're not 70, you're 79. Okay, you're 78 and three quarters or 78 and 11 twelfths. Because,
Right.
you know, so, but I'm like, you're not that much younger. And yes, you're more ambulatory than a lot of the people who are there, but they're more mentally with it than you. So anyway, so I'm feeling guilty because she's feeling awful. Um, and the people who I'm social with, everyone's really busy doing all sorts of other things. And those who aren't really busy have like no money and they don't want to go out. But then when they do go out, they spend $80. And I'm like, I spent 10, you spent 80. You could go out more often if you spent less when you go out, but you can't tell people what to do.
No.
Um, so what I did buy myself tickets to go to a comedy show by myself tonight because I couldn't find someone to go and I still want to go. So I'm gonna do
Good
it.
for you. Oh my God, your confidence is getting so much better, Jen.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go. Like I wouldn't go sit in a bar by myself, but I sure is because I would have more fun at home by myself than at a
Yeah,
bar by
yeah.
myself. But it's an hour and a half show. I'll get there at 7. I'll see if anyone wants to share a table with me, and then I'll watch the comedy, and then I'll come home.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I
And
love
if
it.
other people can join me last minute, great. If not, I don't care. I got my ticket. So that's me socially and emotionally. Yeah. Physically, my ankle's been hurting again. I don't think that gout usually shows up in the ankle, but it has been. I haven't walked for 2 days. I had a 27-day streak of walking, and this tech stuff has taken over my walking time.
Right.
So, I'll definitely be walking on the weekends because I can't get through the customer service and stuff on the weekends.
Right.
So get back to it. But yeah, I've been trying to walk about 3+ miles a day, even in 102, 105-degree weather. So, yeah, so physically my ankle's hurting, but other than that, I'm feeling pretty good.
Okay.
Um, a little jittery because I've had 2 or 3 coffees this week, and I really, one is good for a week. So, and here I am finishing the one that I bought for my daughter that she didn't want. So, but good.
Good. That's awesome. All right, I'm decided I'm going to completely bypass. I'm just going to show my screen anyway. I'm not even going to look at my notes because I run out of time and just feel ridiculous that I have to do this. What you're just talking about is actually exactly what I want to show as a visual. And it's something called the distress tolerance visual. And you can use this for like distresses and, oh my God, the life's going to change. I don't know if I can deal with this. Or if this like changing, adapting to different ideas. And the one you just gave me right now, Jennifer, about going out, even though it felt uncomfortable, is exactly what this is. And Marcel, you're nodding. I think does this sound familiar to you? All right. So you might be able to correct, you might be able to help me walk through this then. So it's really neat. And the way it explains is that this is, so we've got a little bar graph here. Anxiety is up this side, time is this side. And the idea is that when you get really overwhelmed with something or you know something is going to happen, this is where the exposure, this is the anticipation of something that's going to happen. And your anxiety will go up to the point where you're like, I'm not sure if I can do this or not. Oh my God, I'm just like, you can feel that foreboding and the world's going to end and whatever big feeling you're going to have. That's your, when you get to the certain point, you get to that peak panic, what your brain is naturally going to do, especially it's been trained because it's gone through this bad stuff already, is I can't deal with this. I am going to shut off. I am going to avoid the thing, or I'm not going to do the thing, or I'm just going to numb out if I still have to do the thing. I'm going to find some way I can deal with this, but not really and be in the moment and ignore it. Habituation is when you actually deal with the situation and you know you can feel this and you can kind of go through it. And this is when you kind of go, okay, I can deal. Even though I felt this, I can get over that wave and then just keep going. And I love the idea of when I saw that as a hill, I'm like, those are our waves. Those are our waves as a widow, that this is what happens. We go up and down. And so what happens if you don't habituate and you shut down, it drops significantly. So you get away. You don't have to go down slowly. You just go, you just cut off everything. You avoid the situation. You avoid that feeling. And what happens though is that it goes back to that same trigger of anticipation. Oh my God, the thing's still going to be there. I still have to do it. I've been using this as an example, easy because my kids, with my son and his stupid homework. You can avoid your homework all you freaking want. It's still going to be there. It still have to do with it. You still have to figure it out. It's an example. It's easy for me, for him, for me, for my peak panic was I'm going to throw myself in to talk to people live because why not? And I swear to God, I think anticipation for that blew the fact that I could have done it properly because I was in pure panic mode. Again, because other things happened which didn't help that situation. But it didn't, I just had to do the thing and I couldn't feel the emotion. I was just in pure panic. I was crying. I couldn't talk to people. I was isolated in a freaking widow's camp. And like, this would be the best place I can actually reach out. I couldn't. I felt so isolated. And I felt like I'm baby widow again. It was stupid. And then when I came home, that's when I could start to relax again and my triggers went away. So that's my prime example recently. The worry hill, the next thing is this is what I'm trying. I forgot that was here. So this is the avoidance, which your anxiety quickly drops. You fail to habituate and you go back into that trigger. So this can be a repeating process depending on whatever it is that you're going to panic about. You're actually anticipating the worst, and so you expect it because you can't get past that point, and that's what being stuck is. Anticipating this is going to be happening, but you're not doing anything to get past that point, which is what habituation is. So the idea is, and I couldn't really do this properly, but the idea is that over time, if you get used to feeling that feeling, it goes really peak up here. The next time you feel the feeling, it's gonna go longer. You're gonna feel the feeling and it's gonna suck, which feels like, well, why would I want to do that then? If I could just go back up here, I'll feel it really intensely and then it goes away. No, no, no. If you feel the feeling, it's not as panicky the next time. It might feel a little longer, but you'll get through it because it's not as much, and then you'll get through it quicker. And then the next time you're triggered, you are going to be triggered. It's going to take a longer time to get up there. You're going to feel it maybe a little bit longer, but it's not nearly as bad. We could use the same idea for grief, right? When we were first going through grief, everything was a goddamn freaking trigger because everything was so new and we can't deal with it because we can't even freaking function at this point, let alone dealing with all the feelings. Now that we've gotten our routines, now that we've made her feel safe, now that whatever it is that we've done, we are now finding trust in ourselves, especially this point along for all of us here, where we can do the thing, which means when we go through those triggers, we're on safe ground where you can feel the feelings and know I can do this stuff even without them because I've taught myself. And this is what I'm talking about, but that learn practice idea. And I like this visual because it shows you, I mean, really how this works. They brought it up for my kid, so this can be used for your kids as well if they're going through that. And we can like dumb it down or make it as little cerebral as possible. I'm gonna send you stuff about like the actual scientific stuff if you want. I'm not gonna give it always, but even if you're going to talk about your kids about I don't want to do the thing, mom, you can say, well, this is why you do the thing, because it's gonna help you do the thing next time, and it's gonna be freaking easier. My habit is that I add more things to make it so, but panicking myself. So I'll add more content or do more things. And so I'm like almost inducing that panic instead of going, I know what the hell I'm talking about. Why am I trying to be in panic mode? Why am I trying to be survival? Because I'm still kind of anticipating. So I'm trying to overextend. And then I'm like, oh my God, I wasn't even prepared for that. It's my own personal story. That's the idea that I want to bring up for when it comes down to learning that practice with yourself. And now, before I go any further, I want to ask you guys, did that make any sense before I go any further on what I was going to talk more
Yes,
about?
and I don't know if it's possible or not, if it's asking for too much, but if you can make it colorful, that would be great because I guess show it to my students next year.
Ooh,
Math, like word problems, that I like that just perfect. If you could, if you don't mind, put your name on it and everything. I want to give you
yeah, yeah,
credit,
yeah,
but
yeah.
visually, perfect.
What kind of colors do you want? You let me know how you want to do it. I will send it off to you. Absolutely.
Like a rainbow kind of color thing, like
Rainbow.
like red, and then it becomes orange, perhaps, and then yellow, and then green or something like from
I
red
like
to.
that. Totally cool. I will do that. So obviously it clicked for you.
So no rush, but yes, thank you. I love it.
All right. Does that make sense to you, Jen, too?
Yeah, sorry, I got a call and had to jump up for a second. But I think both basically it boils down to the fake it till you make it, right? Like you
Yeah.
talk to yourself and like I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, even though you don't know what you're doing, and then eventually you do know what you're doing.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. I love you're doing all these psychological tricks though too. You're telling your brain this is what you're gonna think, and your brain's like, oh, okay. One thing. It kind of goes back to the idea like I talked about at the very beginning of this is that sometimes when the worst has happened, you expect the worst to happen all the time. So you're training your brain to see all the worst things, and even not to say there isn't bad things, because a lot of the time the universe like, oh, you can handle this bad shit. Here, have this bad shit, and this bad shit, and this bad shit. But also because we trained our brain, we can sometimes get into that rut. So what I love what you're doing is like, no, 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 you are doing this. I don't care what you're doing. That goes into neuroplasticity and how you're actually training your brain to do this instead. And I love how you're very intentional about that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
having my mom here for 2 weeks really taught me all the things that she does that annoys the crap out of me. And like I do the exact same thing to my kids. Like she's sitting in the recliner and I walk by, she's like, "What are you doing? Where are you going? How are you? What's going on?" And I'm like, my brain, I had a task list of 7 things I was going to do from here to there, and you just derailed me. And I do that to the kids all the time. All the time. And I'm like, "Oh, you're finally out of your room. How are you? What's going on? Can I get you something to eat? Do you need?" And I'm like, you know what? Maybe just let them walk by a couple times before I say something. It's really funny how like, and I'm so happy that I can take it as a lesson
Right.
of this is annoying me. Oh, you're annoying them. let's make this better. Let's find a way to make it better. So it's been a great learning experience for me. And I'm really so annoyed by her looking at everything in the negative. And I'm like, let's find something positive to look at today, even if it's just one thing. I got to say goodbye to my daughter and she gave me 3 hugs. It was an awesome morning. You know?
Can I go back to that a sec? Because you just said something that's very clarifying. Because you said something at the very beginning was that Bella is now not here. So my son and I are missing that happy aspect. But now you've just said, but I need to find that happy aspect because I don't like the negative. You just kind of answered your own question without even realize it there.
Yeah, yeah, I
I
did,
have to
didn't
be Bella. I have to embody Bella. Is what you're saying.
but only the good parts.
Oh, of course. Can't take
And
that. Like, just
I
let her
tried
deal
to,
with the other. That's
but I
something
tried,
else you brought up there, which I think is very interesting too, which is that silence when it comes down to peer interactions, whether it be I'm gonna do two different things actually. One with their kids and one with peers in general. Is that sometimes when again this comes back to the very beginnings of grief and you're trying to put yourself out to society again and getting out at that isolation bubble, some of it's because you want to put yourself out there because you're anticipating all the questions you don't want to answer. You know, you're anticipating that label. You're anticipating the feelings you're going to get. If you have to tell this damn story again and again and again, you're anticipating the isolation you're going to feel with them. So why would there's that aspect that I think, and just being there and having all these questions in your head of like, when are they going to ask? When are they going to ask? Are they going to ask that? And just being in that silence of them not and just having a normal conversation sometimes feels weird because you're expecting them to say things because you feel it so hard, you know? So that silence is very difficult. And I mean, you can apply that to any kind of situation where your head's doing more than your reality is. But the other point I wanted to make, which I thought was very important that you brought up, Jen, which is the hounding of her kids. And I don't know if herself, if you're gotten this point, your kid might be like a little blah, 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 because she's so young, because they tend to be. When they get older, they don't do that. They shut the hell up. And I feel you, Jen, because all I want to do sometimes is prod the hell out of my kid who's now a teen to understand what he's saying. And I have to remember, I keep poking. I'm the bear. He's the turtle. If I keep poking this turtle, I can't expect him to want to come out. Being in that silence of just sitting there with him in the same room, not saying anything, until give him space to talk, maybe it's so hard. And especially with your silence, even with your kids, when they're younger and they don't say anything about dad, and like, why are you not saying anything about dad, and why are you doing this up, and why am I doing wrong, and tell me what I'm doing wrong or right, and somebody talk to me. That silence is so hard.
but I also think I've learned to ask the right questions. Hey, what do you want to tell me about your day? Instead of how was your day? What did your friends do? What did they feed you? Where did you go? How were you hot? Did your allergies bother you? How about just what do you want to tell me about today? And then they can choose which topic they want to share. And then I can ask the few important questions I have for my brain. But it's really, and I'm learning that I just need to shut up and accept when they want to talk. Like I just make the space for them when they want it.
Right.
Like it's 11 o'clock. I'm exhausted. I want to go to sleep, but she wants to talk to me right now. All right. What do you got to say? Just
Yeah, give him that space.
all up in the eyes. What do you got to say? And just listen. And, Max likes to talk when we're in the car. So maybe I'll make a wrong turn and take a little longer to get home. Like yeah, it's finding those spaces and making time for them.
So I want to ask you from a teacher's perspective, because you're from as a teacher perspective and you're trying to get across a point or you want to understand whether you've made the point or how do you deal with that silence where you just stop and you wait for feedback from your kids.
Um, it depends on the topic. So I usually call the people that I know that they'll give me some kind of feedback most of the time. I really don't know what I do, like in all honesty. I
Yeah,
don't know,
yeah.
but I've never had, in I don't know, probably the last, I don't know, 8 years of my career went like a complete silence. No.
That's awesome.
Like there's always someone that will kind of rescue me. So I try to bond, like actually build relationships with them
Yeah.
so that nobody will let me like die like that. So they do like me enough to not do that to me. So once I have my couple of students that my safe uh
Right.
people, I don't know, my safety net, I don't know.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
to, yeah, I have a couple of those, and once they start talking, then the other ones will talk. And
I
I have
like
to
that.
remind myself that, if they don't want to talk, it's not personal.
Yeah.
Probably don't care about the topic. It's not about me or how I'm teaching it. It's just like they could care less about whatever because they have TikTok or whatever it's happening, a party or a boy
Right.
or.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I do have those safety nets. So
You've created space dance beds. Yeah, I was gonna
yes.
say that's what it sounds like. Though it sounds like you're anticipating if this happens, and so I'm kind of putting feelers out there and to know where I can find this community that's gonna be supportive, not just of me, but the whole entire thing.
Yeah, so I do get like the first month of school, I really try to focus on like their personalities and whatnot to see who
Yeah.
I can click with and who's gonna do that job for the rest of the year. And so yeah. Um, but at
Well,
the
that's a
beginning
routine
of the
thing though too,
career,
right?
I guess I was just like, I tried to do like a show, more like, oh, okay, like more cheerful, I guess, at the very beginning of my career to get that um feedback and avoid that silence. But now
Right.
it just I tend to build a relationship, and that's how it works. Even with teenagers, like I teach grade 6 and grade 8, right? So it's that age that's difficult. Yeah.
Thank you. I love it. We kind of went off topic a little bit because I kind of want like I want to play more with that silence and like the communication. Anyway, whoo, okay. So I'm gonna keep going. I want to go. Can we go back into the Wayback Machine? And I know we're obviously talking about fantastic things, which is great. We talked about safety nets. I'm would like to kind of twist that too. If is there something that's happened? Is there one moment where you kind of learn that you can trust yourself? Like one moment where you're like, I was so sure that it was going to fall apart and it didn't, or something. What was the last thing that had okay, even though you were convinced it wouldn't? My thought for myself is that my son was supposed to go out with. Again, it goes all about my kids. I already talked about my big thing, which is the presentation, which I'm going to still have to, I'm still trying to get my head around that. My son recently, I was really terrified that he's going to go out with his friends because he's been having a big peer interaction problems recently. And it's been a time where he's actually called me up crying because he's terrified of leaving because he's just getting panicked. So I was terrified this last time that he was going to go out there and he was going to fall apart and I wouldn't be able to be take care of, and I had all these kind of backup plans and had people on point just in case, but he didn't fall apart and everything was okay. And he figured things out. And even though he was really stressed out about it, he got there and like and a couple hours later, whatever, he came back, he was all happy. I hadn't heard from him at all, which goes back to that silence thing. He hadn't tell me, he didn't even call me, which I should have picked up as a good thing because he's enjoying himself. But I was terrible. I was convinced, like just in case, I have all these kind of things set up to make sure he was okay. And he was. So I'm kind of, it's for me, it's almost a twofold thing. First of all, to know that he can trust himself to get through these really hard situations. And so he's doing that tolerance thing. And for me, because I am pretty far into my grief where I don't have these, oh my God, anymore, it's still triggering for me as a parent, as a solo parent, to watch him do that. So I'm trying to manage my own tolerance with how I can deal with his own tolerance. So it's like a dual thing, and it's so difficult. But I've taught myself that I can trust him because I've put things in place that he can trust me to call me, that I can rescue him. which is actually really good to know. So when I came back, talk about validation. When I came back and I was terrified, I mean, Tristan had this big freaking disassociation problem while it was at this conference. So I had to literally talk him through text when I couldn't get to him, like disassociating. Anyway, he went through it. He got through it. I was terrified that I was really worried that he would be out all the place, and when I came home, that he'd be distressed, and I'd have to calm him down. I came home, and he was good. He was so happy to see me. He sat down with me and spent 3 hours with me on the couch watching TV. He hasn't done that in forever. But that was nice, and that was validation of, you know what? I can go away and everything didn't burn down. My kid had a panic attack. I got him through it, even though through that. Like my daughter had a great time. She was very happy to see me, and for me, it was just that I'm learning not just deal with my own tolerance, but trying to manage their tolerances without actually being them, but being okay with that, that distance. Um, so that's my thing, and it taught me my capacity means if I've done the thing that we can do it again, which I thought was fantastic. So using that same analogy for you guys, do you have something you want to share that something that you thought was going to be falling apart or horrible didn't, and it was okay, and you figured it out, and it was good.
Well, the biggest thing that I had was changing from homeschool to school. So
Right.
both kids were homeschooled until the beginning of eighth grade, and they both went into Max is in a charter, so he doesn't go full time, but Bella went to school full time, and I was really scared that they were gonna hate it, and they do hate parts of it. I mean, Max hates everything about school, but he hated it regardless of whether it was homeschool or brick and mortar, and he prefers going to classes versus just at home. Um, and he keeps not having great friends, but he still keeps going back. I mean, let's see, he's got 2 years left, so he can muddle through for 2 years. And Bella, I thought absolutely loved her middle school, and then after her freshman year said she didn't like it. But I'm like, well, look at this. We're going through, we're doing other stuff, and I thought you were doing great, and it wasn't great, but you still want to keep going. And um it's weird to me because I thought she absolutely loved it, and then she's like, no, I really didn't. So, but she's learning sort of how to navigate her way through these things, and it's working out. I mean, when Mark suggested that we homeschool, high school was the reason why I agreed.
Right.
I'm like, we should have sent them to elementary school and then kept them home for high school, but we did the opposite, and they're doing okay.
Can I bring in something? I'm gonna bring it back a little bit further forward. What about your mom coming over? Because that was a very much an unknown. And that was, you had no idea what to expect. And I'm sure you had all these what ifs in your head, not just about yourself or your mom, but your kids and how they're going to react to your mom and everything.
Yeah. For me, it was easier when she was here versus when she's in the home, because it was easier for me to see that she's okay or see she's sleeping or
Right.
talk her through her anxiety. But the day she was gone, the kids were happier. So
Yeah.
I'm like, it's more important that the kids are good than mom and me. Like, I'll eventually, work into a rhythm where this will work better for me.
Yeah.
But um, seeing them relax once she was in the home and feel better about it. And they ask about her and they're like, fine, all right, you're going to grandma's, fine, whatever, we don't care, just leave the house. But they definitely feel better with her not being in the house. Mostly probably because she was watching 48 Hours nonstop and hearing that much about the dregs of society and people murdering people and how they murdered them,
Oh,
or
dude.
like it's just like, and they do it like, I don't know if you've ever watched 48 Hours, but they're like, and coming up, this awful thing, and this is what happened, and we're going to tell you what happened, and then this is how it happened, and then this is what happened. And like, all right, you took 48 minutes to tell a 12-minute story, and you told it, whatever that math is, 4 times. You told the same story 4 times, but just in a different way. And it's just like the tone of Lester Holt, and the other guy is like, da 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 da. And I'm like, I can't, mom, I can't. I'm like, this is putting me on edge. Can you watch something? Could you watch a movie? Something that puts some music in occasionally, something. And it was on really loud, and we have Roku Live TV, so instead of ads, they would play this awful music at double the volume
Oh my
for
God.
a minute and 38 seconds. And I'm like, really? Like the kids are like, oh, I'm so glad that music is over. But I don't feel like anything is quite settled yet.
No,
But
no, that's, well, I was gonna say that too. You guys are all figuring out your own tolerances. Like she's not sure if she's there or not. You're not sure how far you want to push this before you're gonna let her go home. If you're gonna home, you're figuring this out on the fly. And this has been something you guys have been preparing for as much as possible until it actually happened.
yeah.
Right. And how are you feeling with that situation? Like, are you feeling that you're more comfortable with her being at home? Are you feeling more that you want her at home? Are you feeling more like, where are, like, do you have an idea more about what you are comfortable with versus, like, I don't care about her. She can figure herself out, but have you figured out what your own boundaries are?
Well, I definitely feel better with her here and in the home
Yeah.
versus her at her house in New York. Um, but if she does go back to New York, she has to agree to a home health aide that'll check in on her every day.
Okay.
She has to agree that she'll let repair people in the house, regardless of the condition of the house, because it is too stressful on the rest of us to know that she doesn't have heat when it's 20 degrees outside
Gotcha.
Fahrenheit. And like it's below zero. People are dying outside. Like you can't not have heat in your home. You're 114 pounds. You're frail, you're old. Like you can't you can't do this.
Yeah.
And I but I also don't want the last, I mean, it's near impossible because all she does is look for the negative and look for something to complain about.
Right.
If she could just find some joy in something and talk about that joyful thing all day, she would be such a pleasure to be around. And we'd all be like, let's go to grandma. She's going to tell us a happy story. Yeah, we've heard it before, but she's going to tell a happy story. But no, let's go be around grandma and she's going to tell us the 5 things that have upset her in her life that were so awful. And let's hear about them 17
Yeah.
times in and
Right.
out. So, I'm relieved to know that like no news from the home is good news. Like, they'll call me if there's a major incident, but all the little things I don't need to hear about. I mean, they'll tell me when I go or if I ask, but if I don't hear from them, I know no news is,
It's good. Yeah.
I'm not going
Makes
to say
sense.
good news, but no news is no news.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
um, she likes to complain, but she's in good hands and I go over there. I didn't go over there yesterday. She didn't want me to. Um, but I went over there the day before and all the days before that I was over there at least 3 times a day. So like she's seeing me. Um, but yeah, we're still figuring it out. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the kids are happier that she's not in the house. But she doesn't want them to come over and visit either. So, you know.
Can't win. You're right. I think it's amazing that that you're figuring this out though, and that she's here, and you will figure things out going forward.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Ursel, I'm gonna go back to you. Is there anything that you felt? Same question. Was there any moment where something you were convinced was going to happen? It was going to be a travesty, and everything's going to fall apart, but it actually was okay, and you figured things out, and it's fine.
Um, well, when I came back to work, I was just freaked out that I would cry like randomly. And I did a couple of times, but not in front of the children, so students, sorry, they're not my kids. In front of my students, hasn't happened. So yeah, I was very worried about that. Every year I'm worried about that. I
Every
don't.
year, like every when you first start
Yep,
students.
yep. Because it's new, it's a new set of people, right? So you don't know if I don't know if someone's going to trigger something.
Right.
And for some reason, I've had since I came back, widows as parents. So I've had students that have lost their dad. So for 3 years in a row, I've dealt with that. The first year was a bit complicated, but the other years it was like, okay, I'll try my best to be a good teacher, especially for those children. So what's in the
Yes. No, then you're balancing your own grief with where they are in their grief and trying not to like be pushed back to where you were. at the same time, like steady yourself, but also be there as like a teacher perspective. Oh my, yeah, I could
Yeah,
see why you'd be
people
kind of
about
like
their
into
feelings
students.
as well and their
Pardon me?
worries and concerns, and be like be aware of what other students are saying to kind of like, look out and, like protecting them in a way, if I can. Yeah.
Right. How do you feel? I was thinking there's as a teacher, you're making connection with people and on a very vulnerable level, but at the same time, you're not really like you're Ursel the teacher as opposed to Ursel my friend, but you're still
Yeah.
like an authoritative person, part of their lives, been guiding them.
Yeah.
How do you anticipate that drop, that knowing that you're going to lose that familiarity and comfort with those kids when they go on to the next stage? Because that's something that comes up obviously annually for you.
I
Does that
I
trigger
don't know
you
what
at all? Like with the loss of your
so,
husband?
so it's like when you're in, I'm not an actress or anything, but it's like being an actress. I do have that persona, so I have my teaching persona in a way.
Yeah,
So I'm able to connect, obviously using my own experience to connect with them,
yeah.
but I have my boundaries. They don't really know me. They know what I want them to see. I don't know if I'm, yeah.
That makes
So
sense.
yeah, I don't know how else to explain it.
So do you feel a loss when you at the end of the school year?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. How do you deal
yeah.
with that? Because that's anticipatory grief almost right there too.
Well, I prepare myself mentally a couple of weeks like before, like when I finish report cards, that's when I start to actually like, okay, I'm gonna have a new set of children. I have to, enjoy them, and they're gonna say hello once in a while. Some of them might hate me and they won't ever say hello to me again, and that's okay. And I mean, rare cases, but it happens.
All right,
So
well,
yeah,
George, that never happens.
it's difficult. Like for example, it was this year teaching my eighth graders was
Yeah.
difficult because I had them when they were in grade 4 and grade 6. So
Okay.
seeing them as eighth graders and how they changed, like their personality, just what you're talking about your own children, I saw it with my students and that kind of broke my heart. Like, oh, you don't want to hug me anymore? You wanted to hug me in grade 6, you don't want to anymore. So yeah, that was difficult. This year that was difficult for me to see that transformation. Yeah. So yeah, every
Yeah.
year.
Every year. And it's I know we have to, it's always little change is hard. Change is so hard.
Yeah.
But it's still wonderful and fantastic and and amazing. And it's, oh my God, it's everything. I don't know, but thing on the others now having my mortality my mortality cherry has been popped. And now
Yeah.
like I see world in a completely different way. And it's glorious and it's beautiful and it's heartbreaking and it's scary and it's everything at the same time. And it just makes everything more brilliant, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense. Right? The
Yeah.
shadows make things more brilliant. Even
Yeah.
though the shadows freaking are horrible. Like I'm not diminishing the shadows, I just I don't know. So it's yeah, everyone, yes.
But
Um,
it's also perspective,
yeah,
right? Like I can focus on this crap or like just dropping the girls off at camp and the grandma's like, well, I raised 4 kids and this. I go, just let natural consequences. If they don't listen to you, they don't listen to you. All you
yeah,
have to do is keep them
yeah,
alive. You don't have to teach them any lessons, just keep them alive and bring them home. But if they want to be cold, let them be cold. If they want to have stub toes or bloody feet because they don't want to wear the right shoes,
yeah,
so be it. Like
yeah.
her parents, I did this, like they don't want to listen, they don't want to listen. They're teenagers, they know better, let them know better. But
Exactly.
it's also for me, I'm like, I'm not going to pick a battle here. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Whether it's, arguing with people at the Starbucks or whatever. It's just like it's not worth it. It's like
Right.
so many bigger things have happened in my life that this doesn't matter.
Yes.
Will it matter in
Yes.
5 minutes? Will it matter in 5 days? No, then I'm not gonna raise my blood pressure over it. I'm just gonna be
Yeah.
I have to remind myself of this because often I let my blood pressure go up when it shouldn't. But it really is. It's perspective. It's like which way do we want to look at it?
Yeah. Yep. You're right.
I love that.
Yeah.
I want to kind of close off everything by saying I love everything we're talking about. And I love how we are talking tolerance. It's all about tolerance and getting used to that. Being okay with the not knowing, being okay with we are figuring out things on our own, that even if we don't know, it's okay, that every moment doesn't have to be filled with things, and that even though everything has been destroyed, when we were looking for that safety of the other person there or what we had built, we are literally rebuilding our house while we're still living in it. So everything you're doing, everything that you're trying, ever going to different walls or different floorboards or paintings, or that window from before is going to work or it's not, and you're building it with your kids at the same time, and they're figuring out what they want, and you're all doing it together. But everything you're doing, you're actually promising yourself, you're showing yourself that I am doing that, that you're creating safety, that you're creating a world, you're figuring out who you are now and how you can live here in this reality, because it's completely different from before. And it doesn't even have to be finished. That's the other thing too. There's nothing to say that this house is done being built, because you can't even do that. Because if as soon as you say this is built and everything's gonna be fine, everything's gonna be fine, it's not, because that's just freaking reality. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You can put a freaking window in and go, oh, that didn't work. You can live in a house that has like no, like a wall missing because you haven't figured out what to do with it yet. I mean, this is a stupid analogy that I'm really beating over the head with. But the idea is that we don't have to make things perfect. We don't even have to make things there, because we don't know. And that's almost like a promise of itself, though. Too. I think we're not supposed to know. I don't think we're supposed to have everything perfect, because that is not the point. The point is just to figure out where we are at this moment and have the joy, not to have the fucking finished house. But in the meantime, you're still, what's there is good. It doesn't have to be finished to be protective. It's sheltering your healing, and it's sheltering your kids, and it's sheltering your figuring out what you're going to do going forward, your future going forward. And it's something you are slowly rebuilding with yourself and with your kids going forward. And you are still doing it, even though you're unsure, and even though it is hard. And you're proving it to yourself and to hear. Like, if we just listen to everything we just talked about, there's so much confidence in everything that we're talking about. You guys are talking. So I appreciate that. That being said, I want you to think about later on, as a journal prompt. If you've downloaded the workbook, there's a whole bunch of questions in there. Some of them may not apply, some of them do. If you want, feel free to use that. It's not a requirement. It's just kind of prompts. One of the prompts at the very end, which is what ease has returned to your life? What is easy now that wasn't before? And how can I cultivate that going forward? Not just for that one piece of ease, but literally trying to find more. Because to get past that survival state, to get past and just go, how can I make this better? I don't have to make this difficult for myself. I don't have to prove to myself that I can do this. It just is. It's hard. There's two other things I want to, and they're going to come up in the resources. One of them I brought up before, when it came down to the trusting archetypes and trying to trust people again. And it's been Brene Brown, if you ever heard of her before. She's a wonderful psychological analyst, I think it is. She has a lot of her stuff is very heartfelt, but it's very rooted in science, and this is how you can figure out how you go forward. But I can't even do it justice. The analogy she has, a video called a marble jar, and the idea of you have to start trusting things in order to know who you can trust or know what you can trust. That's the only way you can do it. So I'm going to be putting that up as a resource in there. The other one is a link to one of the other things we've done, which was trusting the unknown and the uncomfortable, which dives in more into when you are in that state and you're ready to figure out what those are, to actually figure out what, if you have at that point of the uncomfortability and you want to have even more prompts to be able to get through that, that's in there as well. That being said, there's a whole bunch of information. It is now totally late, and I apologize. Jen or Sel, what are you going to come away with today after doing this?
Life's about the journey, not the destination. We gotta love the here and now, because the end goal is not the end goal, right? It's the here and now.
Yeah.
Well, in my case, tomorrow would be Roberto's 40th birthday,
Mm.
and I feel okay with it. So what we talked today, like, this is like the third year without him celebrating his birthday, just like what
Yeah.
you said on what I told you, the chart, right? The curve.
Yeah.
And so, I have to suck it up and, deal with it and, feel the pain, and why not? Yeah, but it will be okay.
Yeah, okay.
So thank you.
You're welcome. Yours are wonderful. You're lovely. Jen, if you want to go back, replay. Oh, you know what? Or sorry, you can take off now because you've already seen this already, and I know it's late.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jen. I'm going to turn off the
Am I
recording and
here?
just show you really
Yeah.
quick what we talked about earlier. And the only reason I'm not recording now is because I already recorded it. So
Awesome.
take care. Thank you,
Bye.
Ursel.
Bye.
So big hugs.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
All right, so really quick here, I'm going to turn off recording.